Good morning children. I hope you all are studying well and keeping yourself safe. This side Jyoti Nahar and I welcome you all to the video lecture of science, and the chapter that we are going to do today is chapter number 11, air and water. So children, open your books to page number 99 and we will start with the chapter. So children, you all know air is present all around us, but we are not able to see it. We are only able to feel it when it is in the moving position. So, what is air? Air is a mixture of gases. And what is the composition of atmosphere? We are going to study the composition of atmosphere, the amount of gases, which all gases are present in the atmosphere, and what is the percentage of the gases. So, we are having a pie chart over here which shows the amount of gases in the atmosphere. So, the constituents of air are the maximum amount of air constitutes of nitrogen, that is 78% of the air comprises of the nitrogen, and this nitrogen gas, this does not support burning. It is useful for both plants as well as animals, but we take it in another way. Plants take it from the soil and we take it from the plants. It is useful for both plants as well as animals and human beings, and nitrogen, it does not support burning. So children, we have our first internal question here, that is you are going to write it on page number 100. Name the gas which does not support burning. So, we are going to write our first internal question, that is question number 1. Name the gas which does not support burning. Matlab means it does not help in burning. So, the answer for this question is nitrogen. Nitrogen gas does not support burning. So, coming to the topic again. So, we have the maximum amount of nitrogen gas in the air. The other gases that are present in the air is oxygen, that is 21% of the oxygen, and this oxygen, as you all know children, it is very essential for us human beings, animals, they breathe in oxygen, and the other part, that is only less than 1% comprises of the other gases, that is argon, carbon dioxide and hydrogen. All these gases, they together make up even less than 1% of it. So, these carbon dioxide, as you all know children, it is used for breaking up fire, means carbon dioxide gas, it is used in fire extinguishers. You must have seen red cylinders, small cylinders at the malls, at police stations or railway stations, cylinders which are called fire extinguishers. They are used to put out fire, and what is filled inside those fire extinguishers? Carbon dioxide gas, and this carbon dioxide gas is used to put out fire. So, this was about the composition of the air. Now, we come to layers of atmosphere. Now, what is atmosphere children? Atmosphere is a blanket of air that covers the earth. A blanket of air, it is surrounding our earth and it covers the earth like a blanket. It protects our earth from the radiations of the sun. The direct radiations of the sun are not able to reach the earth because of this atmosphere, and the different layers of the atmosphere we are going to study here. The different layers of the atmosphere are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. These are the 5 layers into which our atmosphere is divided. So, atmosphere is divided into 5 layers, that is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. We are going to study about each one of them. Let us start with troposphere. The first layer above our earth is troposphere, and this is the layer in which all our weather changes they occur. Sometimes it is sunny, sometimes it is cloudy. So, all these weather changes, the clouds, the fog, all these changes they occur in this layer, that is troposphere, and it lies just above our earth. And the second layer, that is stratosphere. It lies just above troposphere and it is the second layer of the atmosphere, and all the aircrafts they fly in this layer, and the above part of this stratosphere layer, it comprises of the ozone layer, and this ozone layer, as you can see, the ozone layer, it protects our earth from ultraviolet rays of the sun. So, in another way we can say that the atmosphere is also protecting us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. And what is it that is protecting our earth? The ozone layer, which is present in the stratosphere region. So, the third layer of our earth, of our atmosphere is mesosphere, and mesosphere consists of meteoroids. It protects our earth from meteoroids. And what are meteorites? Meteorites are small rocks which come and crash on our earth's surface, and they come with such a force that if they hit our earth's surface, they may create big holes on it. So, this third layer, that is the mesosphere, is protecting our earth from meteorites. The meteorites come and burn out in this layer, thus protecting our earth. And then we have our fourth layer, that is thermosphere. And thermosphere has space shuttles which go in the space, they keep moving in this layer, that is thermosphere. And the last layer of the atmosphere, that is exosphere. Above this thermosphere we have the space, and this is the last layer, that is exosphere, and the air in this layer is very thin. So, we are not able to breathe in here, and we need oxygen cylinders when we go into the space. So, this was about the layers of atmosphere. So, children, we have done that the atmosphere is helpful to us in many ways. It is protecting our earth from the harmful radiations, ultraviolet radiations, as well as it is helping our earth from becoming too hot. It acts like a blanket and keeps our earth, the temperature of the earth is kept perfect, means it is kept moderate, not too hot, not too cold, and as well as this atmosphere is protecting our earth from meteorites. So, this air, we come to properties of air. Air has different properties, like air takes up space, air is needed for burning, air has weight, and air exerts pressure. So, these properties can be explained with the help of some activities. Let us take up the first one, that is air takes up space. Now children, you all know, we have studied in our earlier classes also, that air, it takes up space. A balloon, when it is in the inflated position, when it is in the deflated position, when air is not inside the balloon, we can keep it in a box, in a small box, even in a palm we can close it. But when the air is filled in the balloon, it gets inflated and it takes up space. Now, we are not able to hold that balloon in our palms, and so we can say that it takes up space. Similarly, when you pour some liquid into the bottle with the funnel in it, you see that some bubbles, they come out from the funnel. This shows that when liquid is taking the place of the air has to come out. That is, air was filled in the bottle earlier, and which is taking, now the liquid is taking the space of the air. So, the air is coming out in the form of bubbles. So, our next property is air has weight. Again, this can be shown with the help of a simple experiment or simple activity. Children, you can also do it at home. When you hang two balloons on a scale, what do you find? That the two balloons, if they have the equal amount of air filled inside them, they will be in the balanced position. If you tie them on the two ends of a ruler, you find that they will be in the balanced position. The ruler will be in a straight line. But if you prick one balloon and make the air come out, what will you observe? That the ruler moves to one end. This shows that the balloon which is having air inside it is heavier than the balloon which is deflated or which is not having air in it. So, this activity shows that air has weight in it. So, our third property, that is air exerts pressure. Children, air exerts pressure from all the sides wherever it finds. Like when you you have a bottle over here, when you make a hole in it, you find that when the cap is in the open position, the liquid flows out with greater speed, and this property of water can be better understood with the help of an activity. Children, you can perform it at home too. What you are going to do is take a glass full of water and take a cardboard and fill the glass with water till the brim, and place the cardboard in such a way that there is no air inside the glass of water. And when you invert it, what do you find? You find that the cardboard will not fall down for a few seconds. This is a very interesting activity, children. You can perform it at home. So, I hope you are going to do it at home and observe what you find. So, this activity also shows that the air is exerting pressure. Why doesn't the cardboard fall down for a few seconds? Because the air outside the glass, it is exerting pressure on the cardboard, and which keeps the cardboard in its place. So, this activity also shows air exerts pressure. So, children, we have done the air. Now, coming to our next topic, water. As you all know, children, water, it is a very essential part of our life. Water is used for cooking, for drinking, for cleaning and many other purposes. But the water that we get from the rivers, from the lakes, from the oceans, it is not always fit for drinking. It may have some impurities. And what are impurities? Impurities are the substances which are present in water and that make it unfit for use. So, you can underline the line over here. The substances that make water dirty or unfit for use are called impurities. It is given on page number 102, just after the water topic, water. So, children, we have again the impurities that are present in water. They are divided into two types, that is insoluble impurities and soluble impurities. And what are the methods by which we can remove insoluble impurities? Sedimentation and decantation come along, and filtration. These are the methods which are used to remove insoluble impurities, means they are not dissolved in water, but sometimes the impurities are soluble in water. So, how do we remove them? By the process of evaporation and distillation. So, let us discuss these process one by one, children. Before that, we are going to write a second internal question, that is, name the two types of impurities. So, children, we are going to write a second internal question. Name the two types of impurities. And what are the two types of impurities that we have discussed? Just now we have discussed there are two types of impurities, that is soluble impurities and insoluble impurities. Soluble and insoluble impurities. These are the two types of impurities. So, this is the question answer for second internal question, and you are going to mark it on page number 102, children. Okay. So, let us discuss the various methods to remove these impurities. First, we are going to take up sedimentation. Now, what is sedimentation? In this method, what do? The water which is containing impurities is allowed to settle for some time. If it is left undisturbed for some time, what will happen? After some time, we will notice that the insoluble substances, they settle down at the bottom of the container, and these impurities which settle down at the bottom are known as sediments. Now, how do we remove the sediments from the clear water? We have the next process, that is decantation. In decantation, what do? We pour out the clear liquid from the top without disturbing the sediments. Means we do not disturb the sediments and we simply pour out without disturbing it. We simply gently take the beaker and pour out the clear liquid into the other beaker. And so, you can see that the muddy water, when it settles down, it forms a separate layer in the other beaker, and we pour out the clear liquid into the another beaker, and this process is called decantation. So, sedimentation and decantation both go along. Now, sedimentation, it is a very slow process, it takes time. So, to increase this process of sedimentation or to increase the rate of sedimentation, we sometimes add some chemicals like alum. We call fitkari in Hindi. We add these particles of alum to water to speed up the process of sedimentation. And this process, how did it take place? When we add particles of alum to water, the clay particles, they stick to alum particles, and thus these particles become bigger and heavier in size, and when they become heavier, they settle down very easily, and when they settle down easily, the rate of sedimentation is increased, and this process, when we add alum to it to increase the rate of sedimentation, is called loading. So, a third internal question comes over here, children. You may write it on page number 103. So, we will write a third internal question. Name the process which increases the rate of sedimentation. Increases the rate of sedimentation. And what is the answer, children? What is it that the process which is increasing the rate of sedimentation, when we add alum, the process is called loading. So, you are going to write the answer loading. So, we have covered our 3 internal questions too. So, children, our next process or our next process which is used to remove insoluble impurities is filtration. Now, children, what do you do when some seeds or pulp are there in your juice? You filter it. You use a strainer to remove these seeds and pulp from the juice. So, the process, what is filtration? It is the process in which it is used to remove fine insoluble particles from water. When the water, it contains very fine insoluble particles, this process is used. What do we do in this process? A filter paper or a piece of muslin cloth is used here. It is folded 3 times and kept in the funnel, and then it is kept in the funnel, and the impurities, the water containing the impurities is poured into the filter paper which is kept in the funnel. And what do we observe? The clear water seeps out through the filter paper, which is known as filtrate, and the residue or the impurities, they are left behind in the filter paper. These impurities are called residue, and the clear liquid that we obtain after passing through the filter paper is known as filtrate. So, this is the process of filtration, children. So, we are going to do sedimentation, decantation, and the process of filtration. We will observe it practically. We are going to do it practically. See, children, here I have a mixture of sand and water, and I have left it for some time so that the heavy sand particles, they have settled down. Here you can see in the mixture that the sand particles which were heavy, they have settled down, and so this clear liquid which is floating on top and is called the supernatant liquid, and these sand particles which have settled down are known as sediments. Now, this process of leaving it undisturbed is called as sedimentation. Now, what I am going to do is I need to separate the clear liquid without disturbing the sand particles. I am going to pour out the clear liquid into another beaker without disturbing the sediments. See, I am able to separate water and the sand particles which were left, which were heavy and has deposited as sediments, they are separated and they have separated here as sediments. Now, this rate of sedimentation can also be increased by using alum. This is a chemical substance which increases the rate of sedimentation. You can see, children, this alum, when added, a pinch of alum is added to water which contains fine dust particles. These, when alum particles, they stick to the sand particles and thus makes them heavier, and so the sand particles settle down very easily. And now this substance, with this clear supernatant liquid which you call, it may have some impurities in it. As you can see, the water is still not crystal clear. So, we need to do filtration now to remove some fine insoluble particles. We need to do the process of filtration. For filtration, I need a filter paper, and this filter paper can be folded in this way. In this way, we fold the filter paper and place it in a funnel that I am having here. This is a funnel. In this, I have placed a filter paper. I have already placed a filter paper. Now I am going to pour out this liquid into the filter paper, and this is a very slow process. So children, this will take time, but you can see some sediments, some very fine particles which were not able to pass through the filter paper. They will be left behind in the filter paper, and the clear liquid will be separated. And so this process by which we have filtered the water using the filter paper is known as filtration. So I hope you have understood sedimentation, decantation and filtration. So these are the processes which are used to remove insoluble impurities from water or any other liquid. So children, our next topic is evaporation, and evaporation is used when the impurities are soluble in water. It is a process which is used to remove soluble impurities from water. And what is evaporation? As we have studied in our earlier classes, it is the process of conversion of water into water vapor or liquid state to gaseous state, and this process converts water into steam. The solution containing impurities is heated and the water changes into steam and the impurities are left behind. In this way, this is a simple process. Evaporation is a very simple method which can be used to separate salt from water. How do we separate salt from water? When we heat the water containing salt, the water evaporates and what is left behind is salt. So this is a very easy process, a very simple process by which we can remove soluble impurities from water. And our next process which is used to remove soluble impurities from water is distillation. What is distillation? What do we do in distillation? The water is heated in a round bottom distillation flask. You can see children, here you have a round bottom flask in which water is heated, and water is heated till it starts evaporating. You can see the setup which is used for distillation. Water is being heated here. The vapors which are formed by heating of water, they are allowed to pass through the condenser. This is a condenser where we have an water inlet and water outlet. Cold water is allowed to pass through this. So this makes the water vapors cool down, and when the water vapors cool down, they convert back into liquid state, and which is collected in the form of distillate in another flask. So this is a method where we are doing evaporation first and then we are performing condensation. So these two processes go side by side. First evaporation is done and then condensation is done to collect the pure liquid, and the liquid which is collected in this process is the purest form of water, which we call distillate or distilled water. And this distilled water is used in car batteries, in inverters and sometimes in science laboratories also. So children, we have done the process of removing soluble impurities as well as insoluble impurities. Now there are some simple methods of removing impurities from water, that is by boiling. It is the simplest way of cleaning water or removing impurities from water. Boil water for at least 10 minutes and then you can filter it and store it in clean and covered containers. So this is the simplest way of purification of water. Another method of purification is chlorination. Chlorine tablets are, when added to water, they kill germs and make water fit for drinking. They make it fit for drinking, and it is a way by which we are removing germs, which we are purifying water. Other ways of purification, like in cities and towns, when water comes to our homes, what is done? Big purification plants are set up where sedimentation is done, decantation is done, as well as chlorination is also done, and after that it is supplied to our homes. So, these are the various methods by which purification of water is done. Purification of water at our homes can be done using water filters also, like we have RO systems at home where water is purified very easily in a simple way. So, this was all about the chapter, children. We have completed air and water. I hope you have understood the chapter. Thank you, children.